Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for today's video. Today's video is about borderline personality disorder, and it's to address a question I'm often asked. Do they miss you when it's over? When they're gone, when they're with somebody else, when they don't hoover you, when they don't contact you, when they contact you? What are they feeling? What are they thinking? What's going on? I know a lot of people will spend years with someone with this disorder, care and love them very much, and it ends abruptly in seconds with no explanation except that you're just a bad person. I'm out of here. They go right on to someone else and they think that they don't care at all. Do they? I hope I answer that question today by helping you guys understand this disorder and what it does to people. So first I want to say, by whatever I say that borderlines are thinking, feeling, doing, I'm not saying all, definitely. This time, this is a spectrum, and we're talking about personalities which are all different. Even though they may share the same disorder, doesn't mean they're all the same. Okay? I'm going by my own personal experience. I'm going by the experiences my clients tell me, and I'm going by my informal education. Things I've looked up, studied, watched, read. Something that's very important to understand is that due to childhood trauma, there's damaged brain functioning, problems early in development. There's cognitive distortion, psychological splitting, object constancy, unhealthy attachments, lack of self-awareness, and self-reliance. Very important factors to this. So some examples of someone who's lacking object constancy, or at least these examples, there's lack of object constancy. A boss doesn't say good morning one day. Always does, but today you walk in, they don't say good morning. Uh-oh, am I going to be fired? Have we all had some sense of that, right? A spouse hasn't called yet today. They usually do by now. Are they cheating? A partner is just being quiet one morning after you get up. Are they mad at me? We hadn't had sex for a while, or they told me no last night, that they were tired. Do they still love me? Severely lacking object constancy. Confusing behaviors come from this. Idealize, devalue, walking away without maybe empathy or compassion. Love me one minute, not care the next. Or they demonize you for no reason, done nothing wrong, but been sweet and caring and nice and empathetic and sympathetic and taking care of them. Hoovering. Do they want you back? If they don't hoover, do they not care? All relationships may possibly re-traumatize a borderline. That's how stressful they can be, how bad a relationship can be for someone with this disorder. Why? It's how they process grief. Lacking object constancy, biggest part here. So, object constancy. Sigmund Freud and his cousin, little cousin Ernst, and a teddy bear is what helped Sigmund Freud coin this term. So, he learned, Sigmund Freud, when he was younger, he had a little cousin in a crib, a little toddler. And he would show the toddler a teddy bear, and there's Ernst, goo gaga. And then he'd pull it down below the crib, out of sight. And instantly, Ernst just wouldn't care. He's not there now. Doesn't care about the bear. Bear doesn't exist. But shows the bear again. Oh, Ernst is back again. Goo goo gaga. Eventually, Ernst starts reaching for the bear below the crib when it's out of sight. He knows it exists still. He developed object constancy, that toddler. Cognitive development. And he coined object constancy from this. This theory of cognitive development, called object constancy, suggests that early in development, humans express the capacity to understand that out of sight does not mean gone. It's so important. It's so important. One of the core elements of interpersonal relationships informs everything from romantic love to jealousy to borderline personality disorder. And I got that out of an article in Psychology Today. I'll post the article down below. In the case of objects, which is just a fancy way of saying people, whether they be love objects, rage objects, mother objects, father objects, or whatever objects, if we do not have a strong sense of object constancy, we begin to irrationally question the reality of our relationship to that object in its absence. That's where the narrative comes from in that relationship that you have with someone with this disorder that contradicts everything that happened. It's about what they form perceptually in their minds when you're not there. Not what we form together, an architecture, a structure of this relationship together. All goes away when you're not there. It's like saying, I have hands because I can see them. When they're not in my field of vision, I can't reach for that. Weakness in our sense of object constancy sparks our insecurity in love relationships, provoking clinginess and jealousy, controlling behaviors. It drives our self-talk about our partners while separation or fighting and causes massive anxiety. This is the grief cycle. Literally, they start grieving your loss just when you go to work. Imagine that. The biggest sign of a toxic relationship is breakups. Break up, get back together. Break up, get back together. This causes dependency. A dependency for that relationship. My life depends on this relationship. How I feel depends on how I think. What I do depends on this relationship and you. Extreme jealousy. Loss. Grieving is about us, not so much the person we lost. You can attach to anybody that you can't even stand, and if they are gone, you'll grieve them. So it's just important to realize that the reason loss causes us depression, it's about how we feel about ourselves when looking at ourselves. When we have somebody that we lose, we're left with ourselves. We're not perfect. We may not like some of the things we see. It may hurt, may cause depression, situational depression. People who do not like themselves at all, who carry shame, toxic shame, and believe they're a bad person, it may hurt too much to look at themselves. And if someone with this disorder is going through this experience every day because you're not there every day, imagine how that causes them to feel, from depression to anxiety, fears. Borderlines carry shame, so they don't like to be alone. They bore easily. They have anxiety, all signs that we don't have a relationship with ourselves. You are the object that makes them feel well when they idealize you. You are also the object that makes them feel grief, shame, devalue. Do you see that? The false narrative that you are bad, you are evil, you're a narcissist. Borderlines are controlling because they cannot manage their life. They cannot manage their relationships. So they try to manage you. I mean, that's just the first sign of codependency. I can't manage my life. I'll manage yours. You can't manage your life. You manage mine. Right? Neither of us fix anything. We stay together. We depend on this. They will be traumatized. We now know that adults that have developed PTSD in adulthood, we realize they were traumatized in childhood. The unhealed borderline that's traumatized in childhood is unhealed. And they're going to enter another relationship that causes stress, that makes them look at their shame, re-traumatizing. They may be re-traumatized by every relationship they have. Hypervigilance makes you scary. If I lose a sense of who I am, my brain takes over and my brain tells me some crazy stuff. You are out of sight and they hate you, but you also don't exist anymore. You're just an object of hate. They don't actually grieve. They can't go through the process, the stages of grief, because they can't first look at themselves and accept reality. When they hoover you, it's only because they feel so bad and they're so impulsive. They could send you a text, you could call them 2 minutes later, and they already hate you again. They're not sorry and they act like nothing happened because they can't look at themselves. They just want you to make them feel well. They may call you, contact you to see if you still exist, if you're still alive. What's good for people who watch this video with this disorder, I know many of you guys do watch this, that have this disorder, this can be fixed. You can re-parent yourself and teach yourself consistency in this, object permanence. This experience can also be traumatic to those around the borderline. You guys, most of you guys watching. I make these videos to help you understand these experiences so your brains make sense of it. So you stop ruminating. So we can shut the door, begin healing. Just a small part of it. But anybody who's experienced this, traumatized emotionally, talk to a professional. We need help. Big time. And not doing this, if we need it, can be more damaging. Okay? I hope I helped you guys understand kind of what's going on with somebody with these behaviors that has these problems. These aren't things that we can fix in other people. There's not much you can do. What happens is someone who can't reassure themselves, you tend to try to reassure them all the time. This kind of focus off of yourself and onto them depletes us and neglects us of our emotional need of autonomy, losing ourself. This is why toxic relationships often will lose self-interest, self-care, other relationships. Again, anybody experience this, contact a professional and talk to them. But I'd love to hear your guys' examples, your experiences, if you feel comfortable sharing them. This is a safe place here. Be respectful. I know you guys usually are. Thank you. But really, people that watch these videos, they scroll down. A lot of them scroll down and read the comments. And to see other people experiencing the same thing helps with guilt and shame and healing. So they're very appreciated by many people if you could share. Ask me questions, anything you want about this, I'll answer them. And love yourself first, guys, okay? All right, take care. I'll see you again. Bye. Thanks.